Hello everyone, welcome to the online classes of science for class 10th. Today we'll take up chapter 7, control and coordination. Let's start with the learning objectives for this session. Introduction, system for control and coordination in organisms, nervous system, neuron, synapse, reflex action, human brain. That means after completion of this session, you will be able to understand all these topics in a better way. Now about the introduction for this chapter. All living organisms respond and react to changes in the environment around them. Organisms move in response to various kinds of stimuli like light, heat, nutrients, food, mate, etc. All the activities in animals are controlled and coordinated by the nervous system and endocrine system. Hormones are chemical messengers which assist the nervous system in carrying out various functions. They are secreted by endocrine glands, and that system is termed as endocrine system. Hormones in plants coordinate the movements. That means in animals, control and coordination is done by nervous system as well as endocrine system. While in the plants, the control and coordination is regulated by the chemicals only. That means chemical coordination is found in the plants. Now about the system for control and coordination in organisms. As we have just discussed that there are two systems which helps in control and coordination, nervous system and endocrine system. Now this is the image which is showing the nervous system in human, the brain, spinal cord. Both are the parts of central nervous system, while all the nerves arises from it and spread throughout the body forms the peripheral nervous system. As mentioned in the figure also, that the central nervous system is marked in brown ink while the peripheral nervous system is shown by blue color. Now about the nervous system. Nervous system is composed of specialized tissues called nervous tissue. The nerve cell or neuron is the functional unit of nervous system. It is the nervous system which is mainly responsible for control and coordination in complex animals. That means if we are able to receive a stimuli and respond to it, it is because of the nervous system only. Now the question comes, what do we mean by stimuli? Stimuli or stimulus, it is any situation which makes a individual react. It can be external, it can be internal. Now about the response. Reaction to a stimuli is termed as response, and if we are reacting to a change in the external environment or in the internal environment of the body, it is because of the nervous system only. Now the functions of the nervous system. Nervous system receives information from the environment, and to receive the information from the various body and to act according through muscles and glands. Now about the nervous system. The nervous system has two parts, as I have already shown you in the diagram of human body, that the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is made up of brain and spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves given out by the brain and the spinal cord, and it forms the peripheral nervous system. There are 12 cranial nerves. That means the nerves arises from the brain, and 31 spinal nerves. Spinal nerves are the nerves arises from the spinal cord in humans. The peripheral nervous system has two parts: somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system forms a part of the peripheral nervous system. The nerves of PNS that control the voluntary actions. Voluntary actions are all the actions which are according to our will, or we can say that if we are able to control an action, then it is a voluntary action. Suppose you want to put the food in your mouth, so it is a voluntary action, it is under your control. So get back to the sentence. The nerves of the peripheral nervous system that control the voluntary actions of the body form the somatic nervous system. Now the second type of peripheral nervous system is autonomic nervous system. All the nerves of the PNS that control the involuntary actions in the body form the autonomic nervous system. Involuntary actions are those actions which are not under our control or which are not according to our will. Now, the two further divisions of autonomic nervous system are sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for intense physical activity and is often referred to as the fight or flight response, while the parasympathetic nervous system has almost the exact opposite effect and relaxes the body and inhibits or slows many energy functions. Now about the neuron. First look at the image. Neuron is the structural and functional unit of nervous system. Brain, spinal cord and nerves all are made up of nerve cell or neuron. A neuron has dendrites, dendron, cell body or cyton, which contains the nucleus, and axon, which is bounded by Schwann cells and the nerve endings. Neuron, as I have already told you, is the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Each neuron has three main parts: dendrites, cyton or cell body, and axon. Dendrites receives the stimulus or the impulse from other neurons. Cyton processes the impulse, and axon transmits the impulse either to another neuron or to a muscle or a gland. axon may be myelinated or non-myelinated. Now myelin is basically a insulating substance which is secreted by the Schwann cells. So those axon which has myelin sheath are called as myelinated neuron, and those which are not having myelin sheath around the Schwann cells are termed as non-myelinated neuron or the nerves. The impulse transmission is faster in myelinated neurons. I think you people are able to connect with the statement because I have already told you that myelin is a insulating substance. So the myelin is present in the Schwann cells, or it surrounds the Schwann cells, and this myelin sheath is absent at a certain place, and this place or the repetitive places where the myelin sheath is absent are termed as the nodes of Ranvier or Ranvier's node. So as the myelin sheath is insulating in nature, the impulse, when it reaches the axon, and because of the presence of the myelin sheath, it is not able to conduct through it. So the impulse or signal jumps from one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier, and finally it reaches to the nerve ending. That means this type of transmission is very fast, and this faster transmission takes place in a myelinated neuron only. This type of jumping conduction is termed as the saltatory conduction. Now about the synapse. The point contact between the terminal branches of axon of one neuron with the dendrite of another neuron is called synapse. In simple terms, we can say that when a neuron ends and the another neuron is in contact with the first neuron, at that time this junction between the first and the second neuron is termed as the synapse, because in this junction dendrite of second and the terminal branches of axon of the first neuron are involved. Now what is the neuromuscular junction? These are the junction points where a muscle fiber comes in contact with the motor neuron, carrying nerve impulse from the central nervous system or from the nervous system. So when a neuron get in connection with a muscle and passes the signal to it to respond, this connection or the junction is termed as the neuron or neuromuscular junction, and it is also termed as the motor end plate. Now about the transmission of nerve impulse. Nerve impulses travel in the following manner from one neuron to the next: dendrites, then to the cell body, axon, nerve endings at the tip of axon, synapse, dendrite of the next neuron. Chemical released from the axon tip of one neuron cross the synapse or neuromuscular junction to reach the next cells. That means the signal get transmitted in the form of chemical, and those chemical are termed as the neurotransmitters. Example of it is acetylcholine. Now about the reflex action. Here you are able to see spinal cord, and then the neurons. The sensory neuron is in connection with the sense organ. That means from the sense organ, the neuron which carries the signal towards the central nervous system is termed as the sensory neuron. Then the central nervous system processes the message and convey it to the muscle or a gland which is termed as the effector organ, and that neuron which carries the message from the central nervous system towards the gland or the muscle which is the effector organ, that neuron is termed as the motor neuron. Now the image is showing it that the signal is received by the receptors in the skin, that is the hot pan is touched by the hand, and now this sensation moves with the help of sensory neuron towards the central nervous system. As the spinal cord is involved, so this action will be termed as the reflex action, because in reflex action the spinal cord sends the message. Now here from the spinal cord, the motor neuron sends the signal to the muscles of the hand, and we remove our hand from the hot pan. So this action is termed as the reflex action, and this pathway, that is from the sense organ, that is the stimulus is received by the receptors of sense organ. Then from the receptors, with the help of the sensory neuron, the signal get to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, the motor neuron get it to the effector organ, and finally the effector organ shows a response. So this complete pathway is termed as the reflex arc. Now let's get back to a quick revision of the content we just discussed, the reflex action and the reflex arc. Reflex action is a sudden, involuntary reaction of the body in response to a stimuli. And reflex arc is the path followed by electrical impulse during a reflex action. The impulse travels from the receptor organ to the spinal cord or the brain. Because here we are discussing about the reflex action, we will consider only the spinal cord, and if we are considering the impulse and response pathway, at that time we will consider spinal cord and the brain together. Now the message is processed there, and the information is brought back to the concerned muscle to carry out the action. Thus, receptor organ, sensory neuron, which is also termed as the afferent neuron, then the interneurons, which are present in the spinal cord or the brain, and the motor or effector neuron and effector organ are the components of a reflex arc. Now about the human brain. This diagram is very important for board exams. Human brain is enclosed in cranium, a bony box, and it is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. You are able to see all the different subparts and parts of brain. Now the brain is protected by three main layers or three main structures: the bony skull, which is the cranium, the cerebrospinal fluid, which acts as a anti-shock, as well as it provides moisture to the cells, and meninges. These are three layers: dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater. Now the functions of brain. Functions of different parts of the brain are: cerebrum is responsible for reasoning, logic, emotions, speech, memory, visual processing, recognition of auditory and taste stimuli, etc. Cerebellum regulates and coordinates the body movements, postures, and balance. Pons relays signal from hindbrain to forebrain. Medulla oblongata controls all involuntary movements like vomiting, sneezing, yawning, breathing, blood pressure, etc. Medulla oblongata continues as the spinal cord, which runs through the vertebral column, and it controls the reflex actions. So, all these are the functions of brain. Let's quickly revise the important points of it. The human brain has three parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. The forebrain has cerebrum, which is responsible for reasoning, logic, emotions, etc. It also has olfactory lobes, which helps in smelling. Then it has thalamus. Thalamus is basically relay center of the brain. That means it receives the signals and then proceed it to different parts of the brain. And the hypothalamus, which controls hunger and thirst. So basically these are the important parts of forebrain. In the cranium, 90% of the volume is occupied by the forebrain itself. Now the midbrain, it controls or regulates certain involuntary actions, and it also coordinates or connects the forebrain to the hindbrain. The hindbrain has three subparts: pons varolii, which acts as a breathing center, part of hindbrain, and then cerebellum, which helps in maintaining the body posture as well as body balance, and the medulla oblongata, which controls many involuntary actions like vomiting, sneezing, yawning, etc. I think now all the functions are clear to you. Now you people have got a clear picture of all the learning objectives of the session. Hope you have achieved it. Thank you for the patient listening. Take care.